everyone! Today I'm going to try my best to tell the story of how I started Emma Kistina. I have a lot of facts and ideas and everything's just jumbled up in my head. I'm going to try my hardest to make this not long-winded and confusing, but we'll see. I'm not very good at taking ideas and whatever. This is how I started Emma Kistina. I've always loved art, and that was always something that I enjoyed doing, and I loved drawing, and as a child I drew all the time, and in high school I drew all the time. I did as many art credits as I was able to. I was pretty good in my other subjects, but it wasn't something that I was like, oh, I love math. No, I loved art. And when it came time to choosing my major, I didn't think I was good at anything else, so I chose art as my major. The one thing that was lucky was that I was so good in my other subjects, so I got a 100% scholarship to a state school in Florida, and that was just so amazing. I had 4 years of college paid for me, so I could choose whatever major I wanted, and I chose art. And sometimes I look back and I say, why did I not study business or marketing or graphic design even, or why didn't I become a doctor or lawyer? But it would have been a waste because I don't enjoy those subjects and it would never have turned out well anyways. So I'm really glad that I studied art. I learned traditional art techniques that are the foundation of all art, and I could use these techniques that I learned later on, which I figure out later, to teach myself illustration by myself after 4 years in college. In college, I learned all there is to know about color theory and oil painting and other techniques of painting, ink painting. I did a little watercolor, and then I also did tons of charcoal drawing and traditional drawing techniques with ink or pencil even. It was amazing. I love drawing with charcoal and smudging out, and it was beautiful. I love that. But it got messy and it became a lot to work on, and oil painting wasn't really my thing, even though I did enjoy it and it was fun to blend for hours and weeks because oil and paint never dries. Nightmarish now, I think. But it never really suited me. I don't really like making super mess. I hated the whole cleanup part. So when I did graduate after 4 years of not really knowing what I was gonna do with this art degree, I was like, what do I do now? I wasn't a Picasso. I didn't have my style figured out yet. I was making weirder and weirder artwork. It was just bad, pretty much. I was still living at home with my parents, so I tried not to make a mess. I didn't have a studio space like I did in college where I could mess it up and keep supplies all over the place. Instead of having to bring out all my painting supplies and then pack them up at the end of the day, I just I need to breathe. Not used to talking as much. I decided to just use paper, pencil, and pen. I love the simplicity of a outlined illustration, and it's just so beautiful to me. I just thought it was so, even though it took less time than I worked oil painting, I just thought there was something that was so neat, so simple and pretty, and I could put as many or as few details as I wanted into the illustration. So I started drawing in that way. And then Etsy came around in 2005, and my friend told me I should open up a shop and sell my artwork. And so I did, but I didn't have a concept for my shop or even any serious branding. I just put everything that I had done in college, all this mismatched, weird, different techniques and just weird crap, in my store, and I sold pretty much nothing. And I don't blame anyone. I had no idea what I was doing. After a year of doing that, I decided to close my shop and I studied Etsy. I was looking at what other people were doing, what was seemingly popular on Etsy at that time, different techniques that other people were doing. At the same time, I started also discovering illustration as a job where artists actually kind of make money because you actually get jobs to do instead of I was looking into all of these things. And I was also getting into Photoshop, which I hadn't really learned at school because they didn't have that kind of program. So I just opened that up myself and I was fiddling around with that and losing my voice. I saw on Etsy that there was a lot of people selling illustrations that were hand-drawn but then digitally colored, and I was like, what is this digitally colored thing? I want to know about that. That seems awesome. Then I don't have to bring out my paints and mess up my parents' carpeting. Etsy was growing more and more as a company, as a online source for illustrators, and it was kind of like blowing up. And I really wanted to be a part of it and have my own shop. The things that I noticed that people were doing was it was a concept, or everything looked the same in their shop and mine was all jumbled. So I decided to just have one sort of style. And there was also kind of a difference in price. There weren't people weren't buying oil paintings for thousands of dollars. They wanted to buy a print for like $20. So I had to figure out how to do that as well. When I discovered this digital illustrating style, but still being able to use my traditional techniques, I was just like, light bulbs went off in my head, like, this is amazing. Just what I was waiting for. It matched my style perfectly. I love that I could do my ink drawings that I love doing. I thought were so beautiful, but then I could bring them to life with different colors and not have to worry about messing up my parents' carpet, or if messing up too, I could just easily just change out the colors to try something else if it didn't work out. So I started playing with that more and more, and I tried to figure out who my brand was going to be. And that was, of course, the hardest part, because in school, my work was weird. But in art school, you're supposed to be a weirdo. I was trying my hardest to kind of fit in, which is so annoying to me right now. It should have just been who I am. And I was a little bit. I went to art school with my little high heels on, my cutesy little skirts, and my lipstick, and people thought I was just like an airhead, but let them think that. I like pink, so what? I had this interest in fashion or accessories and pretty things, girly things that just make people happy, and liking that in art school was just not cool. But since I was out of art school and there was no peers to make me feel bad about things that I like, I had the freedom to draw whatever the flip I wanted to. It could be lipsticks, and I thought that would be fun. I just was practicing drawing, and I opened up the pages of Vogue to find things to practice drawing, and I saw Chanel No. 5, and that's the most iconic fragrance in the entire world. So I drew that, and that was my first illustration. I took my outlines Chanel No. 5 illustration and I scanned it into the computer, and I added color digitally in Photoshop, and that was my first Emma Kistina illustration. Now, I hadn't figured out Emma Kistina quite yet, but it was there. I saw it when I printed out my first print from my computer, and I was like, oh my god, this is it. It kind of feels Etsy, and even though that wasn't really important, it felt like it was me too. And so I sat down and I did even more studying. I was like, what can I call my brand? And I wanted it to have this whole look, and I wanted it to be girly, and I wanted it to be all the things that I love and all the things that I thought other girls would love. And it didn't have to be groundbreaking artwork. It just had to be something that was pretty, that made people happy, and that's it. Simple. I came up with the name Emma Kistina just playing around with my own name. My mother always wanted me to be called Emma Kistina instead of Kristina Emma because it sounds better. So I thought my alter ego could be this girly girl, even though I'm a girly girl. It could be even more girly, and she'd be called Emma Kistina. And to make it even more cute, I called it Kistina instead of Kristina, so I could put a little kissy mouth in the logo. And I still like it. I think it's cute. Everybody calls me Emma, but that's okay. My name's Kristina, but you can call me Emma if you want to. That's my girly alter ego, so it's all good. So I just kept going on that path. I kept working on my illustrations, my hand drawings, and then I kept working in Photoshop too to learn more about that, even though I just used simple techniques to fill in the colors in my illustrations. It wasn't very difficult. But since then, I've gone on to learn Illustrator, which is a little bit more difficult, and I've also tried different techniques in Photoshop to make my illustrations better. At the same time, Etsy is growing bigger and bigger, and because of that, there's more people looking at the site, and I got job opportunities from Etsy, and they also helped to grow my brand and make me learn new things, because I took jobs that maybe I wasn't completely sure I could do, but during the process, I would learn how to do it, such as everything. So I have Etsy to thank for a lot of my success, if you would like to call it that. To sum up what I was trying to say in this long-winded video where I talk really slow even though I think I'm talking really fast, is that I took my free art degree that I learned traditional art techniques, and I complemented it with my own learning by studying other works and scouring the internet for other works by illustrators and looking what they did and seeing what I could do, and then just honestly thinking and listening to what I wanted to do and what I really liked. And that's the most important part. If you enjoy what you like and you put effort into what you're doing, then other people will notice it and appreciate it as well. And then when Etsy came into the picture, I was even more structured and turned my hobby into a business. And it was slow. At the beginning, it was still a hobby, and I just put as many illustrations up as possible, and I tried to spread the word through blogs, and it helped, and it went slowly but surely. It became what it is today, and I have Etsy to thank for that, as well as all these bloggers and myself for continuing to draw and work on this. Thanks so much for watching. I hope that this helped, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask me in the comments. Bye!